I want you to picture something. You are 52 years old. You have worked for 30 years. 30 years of early mornings. 30 years of showing up. 30 years of doing everything you were told a responsible man does. And you were sitting at a kitchen table on a Tuesday night, looking at numbers that do not add up. Not because you failed, not because you were lazy, not because you made one catastrophic mistake, because of 5 decisions that each felt completely reasonable at the time. 5 decisions that nobody warned you about. 5 decisions that millions of American men make in their 30s and 40s without realizing they are writing the story of their 50s. Now, here is why I am telling you this today. You are not 52. You still have time to read the ending before you live it, but the window is smaller than you think. And decision number 3 is the one that will genuinely stop you, because it is the one that feels the most like strength. Stay with me. Welcome back. Today's video is not about men in their 50s. It is about you right now, because every financial trap that destroys men in their 50s was built in their 30s and 40s, quietly, reasonably, one decision at a time. By the end of this video, you will understand the 5 specific moments where the story goes wrong, not in a dramatic way, in the most ordinary way possible, the way that makes it almost impossible to see while it is happening. You will understand why the financial decisions that feel like strength in your 30s often become the heaviest weight of your 50s. And you will understand the one thing that separates the men who arrive at 50 with options from the men who arrive at 50 with regret. That one thing is not income, it is not luck, it is a decision you can make today. Stay with me. Think about the men in your life who are in their 50s right now. Your father, your uncle, your older brother, your mentor at work. Look at them carefully, not at what they say, at what they show. The stress they carry that they call tiredness. The financial conversations they change the subject on. The retirement questions they answer with jokes. The quiet tension when money comes up at family dinners. These are not weak men. These are not irresponsible men. These are men who worked hard their entire lives. Men who provided. Men who showed up. Men who did everything they believed a man was supposed to do. And yet, something went wrong. Quietly, gradually, without a single moment where they could have pointed and said, "There, that was it. That was the mistake." Because it was never one mistake. It was 5. And the first one starts earlier than you think. There is a psychological pattern that researchers who study male financial behavior call the provider's paradox. It works like this. The same instinct that makes a man a great provider for his family is the exact same instinct that quietly destroys his financial future. The strength and the trap are the same thing, just aimed in different directions. And until you understand how this paradox works, you cannot see it happening, even when it is happening to you. I want to tell you about a man named Thomas. Thomas is 53, and Thomas's story begins when he was 31. Thomas, at 31, was exactly the man everyone around him expected him to be. Good job, growing salary, new wife, first apartment together. And Thomas made the first decision, the house. A house bigger than they needed, in a neighborhood better than they could comfortably afford, because Thomas believed what most men his age believed, that a man provides a home, a real home, not a starter home, not a compromise home, the home his family deserved. The mortgage stretched him, but Thomas was 31, and 31 feels like the beginning of everything. By 35, 2 kids. Private school because Thomas had gone to public school and swore his children would have better. By 39, his wife wanted to stop working to be home with the kids. Thomas said yes. Of course he said yes, because Thomas was a provider. It was who he was. It was the thing he was most proud of. By 43, the mortgage refinanced, the cars upgraded, the vacations taken, the image of a successful man maintained at significant cost. And at 53,
Thomas sits on a kitchen table on a Tuesday night looking at a retirement account that contains 11 years of future working life that he does not have. Thomas did not fail. Thomas succeeded at the wrong things. What happened to Thomas is not a story about bad luck. It is a story about identity. Specifically, about what happens when a man's entire sense of worth becomes inseparable from his role as provider. Psychologists who study male financial behavior have identified a pattern that appears with remarkable consistency across income levels, across education levels, across cultures. When a man's identity is built primarily around providing, every financial decision gets filtered through one unconscious question. Does this make me look like a good provider? Not, is this building my future? Not, is this creating security? Does this look like what a good provider does? And the answer to that question almost always points toward spending, toward the bigger house, the better school, the nicer car, the maintained image, the visible proof that he is fulfilling his role. Here's the paradox. The man who spends everything providing for his family today often cannot provide for his family in his 60s. The most loving financial decision a provider can make is to protect his own future with the same ferocity that he protects his family's present. But the provider identity does not reward that. It rewards what is visible today. And retirement accounts are invisible until they are not. And by the time they become visible, it is often too late to change the story. Thomas told me, I spent 30 years proving I was a good man. I should have spent 30 years building a good future. They are not the same thing, and nobody told me until it was almost too late. 5 traps, the ones nobody warns you about. Trap 1, the house that owns you. Thomas bought more house than he needed because it felt like the right thing for a man at his stage. The mortgage did not just cost money, it cost flexibility. Every financial decision for the next 20 years was made in the shadow of that payment. The right house is not the biggest house you can afford. It is the house that gives you the most options. Options are worth more than square footage. Always. Trap 2. Funding everyone's life but your own. Thomas paid for private school. Thomas funded his wife's career pause. Thomas covered every family expense without negotiation, without a plan, without asking, what does this cost my future? Providing for your family is not the trap. Providing for your family without a parallel investment in your own financial future is the trap. You cannot pour from an empty retirement account. Trap 3. This is the one I warned you about, the one that feels like strength. Thomas never asked for help. With money, with financial planning, with admitting that he did not know what he was doing, because asking for help felt like weakness, and weakness was not part of the identity Thomas had built. So Thomas figured it out himself, or did not figure it out, and called it figuring it out, for 30 years. The men who arrive at 50 with real financial security are almost always the men who asked uncomfortable questions in their 30s, who said, I do not fully understand this and I need help, who found someone who knew more than them and listened. Pride is the most expensive financial advisor a man will ever hire, and it charges by the decade. Pattern interrupt. Sit back. Let it land. Trap 4. The sunk cost marriage. Not a marriage trap, a financial one. Thomas had investments that were not performing, a business idea that was not working, a financial strategy that was clearly wrong, and he held on for years because he had put so much in that stopping felt like admitting it was all a waste. Sunk cost fallacy. The most expensive 2 words in a middle-aged man's financial vocabulary are, I have already spent too much to stop now. The money already spent is gone. The only question is what you do with the money you have left. Trap 5. The retirement conversation he never had. Thomas and his wife never had a real conversation about retirement. Not a vague one, a real one, with numbers, with a timeline, with an honest accounting of where they actually were versus where they needed to be, because that conversation was uncomfortable. and Thomas was more comfortable being the man with the answers than the man with the questions. The most important financial conversation most couples never have is the one where both people look at the real numbers and decide together what they are actually building and whether they are on track to build it.
Here is the one thing that separates the men who arrive at 50 with options from the men who arrive at 50 with regret. It is not income. It is not the market. It is not even the decisions themselves. It is the willingness to measure regularly, honestly, without ego. The men who build real security are not the men who always made the right decisions. They are the men who consistently checked whether their decisions were working and changed course when they were not. Thomas made every decision from a place of strength, from confidence, from the certainty that a man who works hard and provides well will be fine. And he was fine until he was not. And by the time the numbers told him otherwise, he had been not fine for a very long time. Pattern interrupt. Quiet. Direct. You are not Thomas. Not yet. You are the version of Thomas that still has time to read the story before you live it. The kitchen table moment, the Tuesday night with numbers that do not add up, that does not have to be yours, but it will not avoid itself. It requires one decision made today while the stakes still feel low and the options still feel endless. The decision to measure, to ask the uncomfortable question, to sit with someone who knows more and listen without pride getting in the way. Thomas would give anything to be 31 again, not to work harder, not to earn more, just to ask the questions he was too proud to ask the first time. The men in your life who are sitting at that kitchen table on Tuesday nights with numbers that do not add up did not get there because they were weak. They got there because they were strong in exactly the wrong direction. Strong enough to carry everything, too strong to ask for help. Strong enough to provide endlessly, too strong to protect their own future. Strong enough to never show uncertainty, too strong to admit when the plan was not working. You are watching their story from the beginning. You are at the part where everything still feels possible, where the decisions still feel small, where the Tuesday night still feels far away. It is not as far as it feels, but it is far enough that you can change it, not by working harder, not by earning more, by measuring honestly, by asking early, by protecting your future with the same energy you use to build your present. Thomas is 53. He is not done, but he is starting 20 years later than he should have. You are not 53. That is the only advantage you need. That is everything for today. If this made you think about the men in your life or the man you are becoming, please subscribe, because this is the conversation we have here every single week. And share this with one man in your life who needs to hear it. Your father, your older brother, your friend who is too proud to talk about money. One share could start a conversation that changes everything. I made a video on exactly how to have the financial conversation most couples avoid until it is too late. It is right there on your screen. Before you go, one question in the comments. Which of the 5 traps do you see most clearly in the men around you? I read every single comment, every one. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one.